I'm not gonna act like we've been communicating and talking. You know what I mean? I've had conversations with them like post.
Cole has not spoken to Drake since before Dreamfest.
Drake and Kendrick are competing for the 1 and 2 spot, and J. Cole is just gonna always be number 3.
Drake?
They saying your boy Jermainius Cole was out here lying about his relationship with Drake. And also, a lot of people didn't like this interview with J. Cole and Cameron. I'm gonna talk about it in a second because I feel like we might be seeing the differences between the big three with this interview and why Drake and Kendrick Lamar, they kind of stand on their own mountain, while to me the obvious number 3 is J. Cole, especially after I watched this interview. But I want to stick to the main topic. Now, the People, aka Drake's official mouthpiece, Mal, is saying that Cole is lying about his current relationship with Drizzy Drake. Now, remember the last time we heard from Mal, he was screaming and hollering, talking about J. Cole did Drake so dirty.
On this album, he better address why he did what he did.
Okay.
He better address why he did what he did.
Did a bit on Port. Even if you disagree with what he said, he did.
On this album, he better explain why he did what he did. He better explain why he had that conversation with Kendrick.
Okay.
And then never spoke to Drake after that again in his life.
And now this is what J. Cole is saying the current state of his relationship with Drake and Kendrick is.
Personally, where you at with them friendship-wise today?
I'm in the same place.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, yo, I genuinely love these niggas, but I'm not gonna act like we've been communicating and talking. You know what I mean? I've had conversations with them like post everything, you know what I mean? But it's not like it's a lot. But that's just, you know, that's me not knowing where they at.
Right.
Me maybe assuming because I done heard X, Y, and Z.
Right.
But it has nothing to do with like how I actually feel. I genuinely love these niggas. Like I be wanting to shoot off a text. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't gonna lie, but even saying that on a mic is kind of lame to me, but it's just, it is my truth. You know what I mean?
It is what it is. Absolutely.
Now, as y'all can clearly see, that's where the issue lies. Mal is saying J. Cole and Drake haven't spoke since the beef. And Cole just said in the recent interview with Cam that he's spoken to both Drake and Kendrick. Now, I will say J. Cole was a little wobbly. And see, this is one of the criticisms that people have of this interview. We see Jermaine, and I feel like some people are annoyed by Jermaine because even when he's talking about his current relationship with Drake and Kendrick, he seems very indecisive, as if he don't know whether or not to say he's still cool with Kendrick or Drake, or whether to say it's a little iffy or a little rocky with their relationship. So I feel like he really didn't give us a strict answer, but I think what you can take from that is he said that they had conversations, and Mal is calling that cap. Let's see what he said on the recent episode of their podcast. And this hoodie getting on my fucking nerves.
Cole said in this Cameron clip, he is saying that they spoke. I don't know what after everything means. I don't know if it means Dreamville Fest. I don't know if it's like that. I don't know if it means after Not Like Us. I don't know what that means.
Okay, so let me tell you from what I know.
Okay.
Cole has not spoken to Drake since before Dreamfest.
Okay.
From what I know.
From what you know. Got you.
Right? That's all I'm saying. From what I know, he has not spoken to him. Now, whether he shot a text after that and the text went unresponded.
Got you.
I don't know about that. I know he hasn't spoken to Drake since before he apologized.
All right. Now, even with Mal, okay? And like I said, I feel like Drake obviously is talking to Mal because, look, Mal for the last couple of months, he's been almost saying things as if they're coming directly from Drake, and Drake hasn't addressed it and said, yo, Mal is a goofy, he lying, I don't talk to bro. I feel like if it was Cap, Drake would have let us know, right?
Drake?
But Drake seems to be comfortable with Mal sharing at least a little bit of their conversations with the public on the podcast, okay? So when he says, I don't know if a text was sent and it didn't get responded to, I'm assuming that he knows potentially J. Cole sent a text. And now Mal's grievance is, and I'm assuming this is also Drake's grievance as well, being the reason that they're looking at Cole a little funny, is they think Cole had an in-depth conversation with Kendrick, but didn't say nothing to Drake. And I could sit here and try to have some deep conversation, but here's the thing. We don't know what's true and what's false. So I feel kind of silly sitting here saying that, oh, Cole is wrong for that. He was supposed to talk to Drake, and how was he talking to Kendrick and he didn't talk to Drake? And, you know, I think Kendrick sent J. Cole a phone call and he told him to stand down because he wasn't trying to get double teamed by Cole and Drake.
Hey, no Diddy, man, no Diddy.
But you see how all of that look a little goofy if we really don't know what's going on, which still makes Mal look a little goofy every time he comes out and he has this conversation when it's like, bro, we just hearing you. We not hearing nothing from Drake. But we did hear from Cole, and I think that's my problem with this interview. And I gotta close my eyes because I'm really speaking from the heart right now. It showed me why Drake and Kendrick are competing for the 1 and 2 spot, and J. Cole is just gonna always be number 3. Because with this interview and all of that talking that J. Cole did, it takes away from the mystique of our favorite rappers. See, even when you see Jay-Z do an interview, he's still damn near talking like he's rapping. He's almost talking in riddles. He's not saying too much. He's not giving too much. He's not sounding very emotional like we saw from Cole. Cole sound like, I just want Kendrick and Drake to be my friend. I just want everybody to get along. I get tired of going to the playground and I gotta play basketball by myself. Why don't I have any friends? That's the way he comes off with all of this talking, because he's destroying that image of a rapper that we imagine we see when we hear him on some of these verses, right? You think about some of the verses. Let's look at Johnny P's Caddy. I'll play a little bit of it. I don't give a fuck about no copyright.
Sparks was flying, the real ones here. The young boy that walked with lions.
Do that sound like some guy who is just so confused and conflicted and got all of these emotions? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with J. Cole having feelings. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with J. Cole having these thoughts. But when you doing an interview, I feel like you supposed to protect your brand and you giving the audience too much. If you want to put this in a song and make it into some incredible bars, if you want to get on your Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers and start getting into your emotional bag, I'm with that artistically. But when we just see you talking like this, it reminds us like, oh, you the regular guy. And Drake and Kendrick, you haven't seen them do an interview in a long time because they're still protecting that image of the supreme MC, the person who they portray themselves as when they doing songs. I know y'all gonna say, well, we saw Drake on the bed with the white girl do the interview. We saw Kendrick at the Super Bowl do the interview. But number one, those are totally different interviews than what you saw J. Cole doing right here. Drake on that bed with Bobby Alof, I think that's her name, right? He's sitting on the bed drinking wine, being the Drake that most of us know him to be, the ladies' man, the dude who's sitting there talking shit, being smooth, being funny. That's not no, I'm about to sit up here and tell you all my emotions type interview. When you see Kendrick doing that interview with Nadeska and Ebro at the Super Bowl, Kendrick was so locked in. He said very little. I remember reporting on that interview. He didn't give us nothing to even make clips about, really. He was locked in for that Super Bowl performance. You don't see Kendrick or Drake doing no interviews talking about all the ins and outs of this battle. I do think when you're an entertainer, you do have to protect that brand and that image. And I feel like J. Cole, he lost some of that aura. That's what I'm looking for, aura. He lost the aura from this interview with Cam. And I know a lot of the earthy chicks, And the J. Cole fans who listen to every bar and every verse and they look so deep into everything he says, y'all are gonna be in the comments saying, you don't get it, he's a good guy, we need more guys like J. Cole. And I do agree with that. We do need peace in the industry. We do need people who are not afraid to show their feelings. But at the same time, the next time he wants to have a conversation about going back and forth with another rapper or being competitive as a rapper and it's a contact sport and all of that shit, I'm gonna look back at this interview and say, but that's you, right? That's Jermaine. I kept seeing a lot of people say they feel like he does a lot of thinking. He overthinks. And you can see that all over this interview. And I don't know, maybe this is just where J. Cole is at right now. Maybe this is why he's talking about retiring, because he's all over the place. But that's what I got from this interview. It seems like at the very least, Drake and Kendrick are in a space where they're holding down the fort and they're protecting the brand. And I did hear him say, well, if I get inspiration to make another album, I'm not going to fight it. But right now, I don't know. When you make a statement like that, it damn near explains the interview, where it's like, I'm laid back, I don't really give a fuck no more, and y'all can just think what y'all want to think. And unfortunately, we are going to think what we want to think. Because who does a press run after the album releases? Especially an artist like J. Cole. You supposed to be the type of guy that really don't have to do a press run. You supposed to be the guy who don't have to come and do interviews. You can let the music speak for itself. And that's not what we got here. I can understand if you just did the interview with Cameron, but now you've done multiple interviews. And this is another thing too. And I'm not going to get too deep with this, but I just want y'all to hear me out. And I got to call myself out for this. When Pusha T was promoting that new Clips album and he was talking about Kanye, Travis Scott, I think he might have said something about Drake too, but at that time, a lot of us was saying that Pusha T was clout chasing and trying to promote that album. Now, J. Cole, he having some issues with this album. Everybody don't like it. Some people saying it's mid. And then he does an interview and he's talking about the two biggest rappers in his class, Drake and Kendrick. And we know most of the people who watch the interview, that's what they care about. They don't care about this whole thing between him and Cam. A lot of people really don't care about his situation with Jay-Z or how he's not with Roc Nation no more. More people paid attention to this interview because of the Kendrick and Drake talk. I think it's fair for us to say that he's using them to kind of promote what he got going on, for people to look at this interview, for people to hear him out so he can talk about how much he loves the album and he's so happy that he made an album that he can jam to. But bro, as much as you want to claim you want kumbaya and you want everybody to be cool, I can say you also clout chasing off of them by even talking about a situation that's old as fuck and that a lot of people have kind of moved past. You can answer some of those questions from Cam, but you don't have to talk all day about him either. Y'all tell me what y'all thought about the interview. Y'all tell me what y'all think about whether or not you think J. Cole had a conversation with Drake. I'll see y'all next time. Have a good one. Peace.